Today I'm going to tie a very fast, easy, and effective ant pattern. A number of years ago I had the opportunity to fish for a number of years some nice spring creeks back in central Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, most of the time I was there fishing it was during the summertime, and so most of your major hatches were already over. But fishing a lot of different terrestrial patterns along these spring creeks, I noticed a whole lot of different ants around and decided I needed to get a nice little ant pattern. I didn't want something too complicated. Chernobyl ant is a great pattern. Usually it's a little bit bigger and bulkier. So from that premise, I started messing around with some different things, and I came up with this pattern. For lack of a better name, I call it the PA ant, and PA for Pennsylvania. And it's just a simple foam ant. You can tie a bunch of these in no time at all. This is number 14 hook, and I tie them in 16s and 18s and even 12s, because some of these real small mountain streams in central Pennsylvania, you're talking 2 or 3 feet wide, and so the patterns aren't really big. So this is a simple fly to tie. Like I said, it's just a foam ant. You can put some hair or synthetic wing on this if you want to turn this into, say, a flying ant or something like that. But this is the PA ant, and it's a simple, quick pattern. We'll go ahead and get started tying. We're going to start the PA ant by placing our hook in the vise. We'll go ahead and debarb the hook. This is a Mustad 9671 size 12 hook. Any 3 to 4x long, even a 2x long streamer hook would work. As you'll see, it really depends on how long you want the body, but this is going to be a longer streamer hook. You could use like a 3906B, which is a nymph hook. It's a little bit heavier wire. The foam certainly will be able to support that, so that won't be a problem. For thread, I'm using a Danville size A. This is a waxed mono thread. You could use a regular old UTC 210 denier or Flymasters Plus, anything heavy. You don't want to use a real thin thread, because if you do, it can very easily cut through the foam as we are building the fly out. So you want to use a thicker, a little bit heavier thread. I'm going to go ahead and run my thread all the way down the end of the hook shank, putting in a base layer of thread. And then I'm going to advance my thread back up to just behind the point of the hook, like that. And that's where my first tie-in spot's going to be. The body on this is just 3 materials. It's some closed-celled foam and some rubber legs. So the foam I've already cut into strips here. These strips are about the same width as the gap of the hook. The yellow or the indicator foam is going to be a little bit narrower. I'm going to cut these long, so I want them to extend maybe about a half a shank length off the bend of the hook and off the front. We'll trim those down to size. If need be, when you're trimming these, you can trim them a little bit narrower if you like them a little bit narrower. I'm going to trim the indicator foam same length, simply because it'll be easier to just cut that a little bit later. It's easier to handle it right now. I do like the indicator foam to be a little bit narrower. I like it to be maybe about 2/3 the gap of the hook. I'm going to stack that on top of the body like so, and I'm going to place it right on top, more or less having it evenly spaced off the front and the back. I'm going to pinch that in with my left hand to hold it in place and help it a little bit. I'm going to put a couple, 2-3 wraps right in the back here, and then I'm going to start to pull that tight. As you can see, that cinches that foam in. I'm going to go ahead and put another 4 or 5 wraps on there, adding tension as I go along, and that will effectively tie in the foam to the hook shank and give me just a little bit of space there for some legs. But that's how I can tie that foam in. If I just put a couple wraps and pull real tight, I'll actually cut through the foam. I'm using some round medium rubber legs. These are black rubber legs for the fly. I've already cut these, pre-cut these. These are 1 inch long. And what I'll do is I'll take, after I tie in the body and the back, I'll take 2 of these, place them right up on top. The center point of those legs will be right over where the thread's at. I'm just going to get a couple, 2, 3 wraps in there and pull down just a little bit. I'm not tying those in real tight. I'm going to have to move them to the sides, but also I want them to stick out at a bit of an angle instead of, if I tie them in too tight, they tend to just stick straight out perpendicular. At this point, I'm going to fold the foam back and advance my thread up the hook shank to just about an eye length behind the eye of the hook. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some super glue. You can use Zap-A-Gap if you want, whatever super glue you prefer, right along the hook shank here. Remember, this fly was designed to just be a quick, easy tie, to try and make it a little bit durable, but it is a simple ant pattern that you can, tie these up and tie up a whole bunch of them relatively quick. Once I have the super glue on or the Zap-A-Gap, I'm going to fold the body down onto the hook shank, and then right about an eye length behind the eye of the hook, 3 wraps, start to pull that in, and keeping tension on that, put in about another 4 or 5 wraps. So you're going to do the same thing up front as you did in the back. We're going to take our remaining 2 legs, even those up a little bit. These don't have to be exactly perfect. Place those right on top, and again, I'm going to get 2 or 3 wraps just to snug those down onto the hook shank or onto that foam, and then they're in place. Folding back the foam in the front, I'm going to advance up to behind the eye of the hook and put in a few wraps. I don't want to put in a whole bunch of wraps. I'm not wanting to build a head. I just want to secure the tying thread at this point. With that foam pulled back and the thread secured behind the eye of the hook, I'll go ahead and put in a 3 or 4 turn whip finish. And my thread is secure. I can trim away the excess. Fly is actually almost done. All we have to do at this point is get our legs out on the outside, do a little bit of trimming, and a little bit of glue. At this point, I'm going to turn the fly over and I'm going to trim the black foam. I want it to be about an eye length or so in front of the eye, as well as an eye length or so behind the bend. So that just evens it up a little bit. The indicator foam that I put on the top, I'm going to do the same thing, but I want that to be just a little bit shorter than the front and the back. If you prefer, I don't do this, but if you prefer, you could cut the corners off on these just to round the ends a little bit. For me, it works just as well just by leaving them squared off. I'm going to take the rubber legs and grab the fronts and the backs and move those to the outside of the fly. I want these to be just on the outside of the black foam, so these stick out from the body. Pretty much perpendicular to the side of the body. Then I'm going to take some head cement and I'm just going to put a drop of head cement right across the back of that foam. That's just going to secure it a little bit. It's also going to seep down around those legs, and that will help secure those legs in a little bit more. And that's it. That's the PA ant, for lack of a better name. It's just a real quick, simple pattern. Like I said, I've caught many trout when fishing terrestrial flies for browns and rainbows on spring creeks. This fly has done very, very well for me. There's when I tie this, I'll generally tie it in a number of different colors. I like the yellow is probably my favorite and most prominent color that I'll tie this in. But I'll also use a chartreuse for the back, or for, I should say, the indicator foam, and also a orange works very, very well for the indicator foam on this. You could use a white. Remember, this is just to help you see the fly when you cast this 40 or 50 feet away and it's drifting down under some shrubs and in the shade or along the grass or something like that. So whatever color is going to work best for you, that would be the color you want to use. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and not only learned a new pattern, but maybe learned some new techniques and a few new skills. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up button below. You can support Dressed Irons by hitting the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you get notified when new videos are published. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Until next time, remember, it's fly tying. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.